I typically don't do this, I have to say. This is a bit out of my comfort zone, so just take that into account. But today, my number one aim for those to have watched this video to the end, to feel like you've left with some genuine information or substance that you otherwise didn't have. So in essence, I'm going to try and give you some actual useful information for once, and not just bullshit around and rant for 10 minutes straight. I know, it's a big commitment from me. I sure as haven't done this before.
I saw him in the bar at 9 in the morning when I was leaving to the airport.
Max, was this true? Or?
He didn't see me. He was nodding away. So I think
I was very thirsty.
Max
It
is
was 5 p.m. somewhere, so
yeah. Max is pro racing driver, pro FIFA player, paddle player, drinker. Ticks all the boxes. Yeah, man of many talents.
So for those who didn't click on this video with the sole intention of telling me that I'm a stupid fucking cunt and that the championship's already decided and I'm a fucking moron for still discussing it, first of all, thank you. Secondly, where the fuck have you been the past week? Maxi's already taken the championship, you dog. Or rather, Lando's absolutely fucking let it slip out of his tiny, perfectly manicured pianist fingers. Pianist fingers. Like playing the piano. Not penis, you deaf arsehole. What I am referring to here, of course, is the constructors. Because, believe it or not, McLaren haven't taken it yet. In fact, it's still pretty much up for grabs. And if the past few races are any indication, McLaren might have very well fucked the dog on this one as well. But today, I will take it upon myself to do some math. Math with an A, believe it or not. And give you some comprehensive and clear-cut analysis of who and when will take the Constructors' Championship for 2024. Alright, I'm skipping out the long intros and my typical 2-minute hilarious joke routine. Today, it's strictly business. Just like Lando, flying out of Vegas, because he's sure as shit's not getting hauled in private anymore. And depending on how my maths today, he may very well be flying economy in a couple weeks. Oh shit, I forgot to explain what the fuck I'm doing. Points-wise, there's still 3 of these fuckers that can take the trophy home this year. So let's take a look at each and figure out what's the likelihood of each one edging it out for 2024. So you'll finally be able to put your mortgage to good use.
Disclaimer. This is not gambling or investment advice. Everything I say or do is purely non-educational. If your dumbass ends up losing your last 10 grand betting on championship outcomes, it's your own fucking fault, bitch.
Alright, starting from the most likely scenario, McLaren. Although the pair of munchkins haven't struggled to show anything but pure disappointment since September, despite that, they had managed to generate a gap in the constructors that some may even regard as substantial. But by that definition, the 2023 constructors gap to Red Bull would have to be labelled as utterly fucking stupendous and blatantly incomprehensible. Actually a pretty fair description, to be honest. Nevertheless, the current gap in the constructors between McLaren and Ferrari is exactly 24 points. 24 points, lads. That's all that separates the biggest clowns of the sport and the slightly lesser ones. Now, crucially, considering that in Qatar there are more points up for grabs because of the funky sprint race setup, you gotta love it. My favourite part of the Grand Prix is hearing Crofty and Brundle praising the new format for 30 minutes straight, only to know in a couple of weeks' time we're gonna have 2 amazing free practice sessions to enjoy instead. The entertainment value is fucking peak. But what this means is that with the extra point haulage, if McLaren manage to get their fucking shit together and pull off the perfect weekend, they will be able to become the 2024 champions this week. But considering this fucking donkey hasn't been able to finish on the podium since Monaco back in, 7 months ago, I'd say it's pretty much no chance of that happening. Now next up is our beloved Scuderia Ferrari. The only team whose fans, when asked why they wear the team's merch, are too ashamed to say they support them and just say it's because it looks good. What they have done is they have certainly ramped up their performance in the past few races, cutting into the dominant lead of the mango-coloured British karting team. Evidently, they're in second, meaning they're behind Lando and the other Commonwealth chap by 24 points behind. Obviously, it has the same fucking gap as McLaren does, don't they? Stupid fucking donkey. Interestingly, though, if Ferrari was to have a perfect weekend, which certainly sounds more likely than McLaren being able to get both cars into Q3 at this point, they would already, at the very least, be able to equal them. And from there on out, it would be an all-out war in Abu Dhabi. But then again, when is that not the case in the Middle East? And now let's not forget the 2024 champion himself. Yes, Red Bull are still very much in the fight, lads. You cannot count out the Dutchman to completely spoil the party and shit on our collective hopes and dreams. Again, Red Bull at this current point in time is 54 points behind McLaren, which seems like a lot, and it is, even if the Red Bull team pulls out a double perfect weekend, which, by the way, by the 2023 standards would be a regular fucking day in the office, they might not still win it out if McLaren also perform. So, it will be a tough one, for sure. But you can't count out Horner and his rabid Dutch hound. You gotta finance the fuel for that private jet somehow. Oh, but I forgot, he's racing alone this year. Never mind. Fuck Red Bull. So, considering the theoretical math, you'd say it's a likely dub for McLaren in Abu Dhabi, in a very close battle with Ferrari, and Red Bull somewhere not too far behind. But knowing that McLaren has more resembled its 2018 self in the past few Grand Prix, Red Bull has seen one of its drivers morphing into a deep-sea anchor this season, and Ferrari's mid-race strategic prowess will result in Sainz committing himself to a swift motor racing harakiri and slamming himself into a nearby wall. So, I'd say it's anyone's game. The only thing I can say for sure is that Mercedes will probably be the only remaining top team on the podium this year. At least the only one that would actually deserve it. How much Ferrari would get if they were in second place instead of first? 131 million. So, the first place gets 140 million. And second gets 6% less. 6%. And this is what all the fucking fuss is about. Are you fucking kidding me? And I spent 6 nights calculating these fucking scenarios. Oh fuck.